We have a Patriots signing incoming as a report reveals a sneaky good move for the New England Patriots to make, with 53-man roster cutdowns opening up a couple of good QB options for New England, who is in need of a QB3. We'll give you those options and all the latest Patriots news and updates right now on Patriots Digest. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. We appreciate you tuning in to today's show. Lots to break down in today's content, and of course, it's all about the quarterbacks. Mike Vrabel yesterday hinted at the possibility of the Patriots looking at a QB3. Obviously, right now on the roster, it's Drake Maye, Josh Dobbs, and that is it. Good news is for the Patriots, they have a lot of options for QB3. We're going to talk about a couple of those guys. Technically, we're going to talk about two options. However, there is a third guy we're going to throw into the mix. However, that third guy was on the roster not a couple of days ago. Ben Wooldridge, who was cut in what I'm going to call the mass cut day for the New England Patriots after their final preseason game against the New York Giants. They cut 14 players. Ben Wooldridge was a part of that, and he was not impressive to me at all in any form in the preseason. A UDFA guy that, didn't have high expectations for, but just never met anything worth bringing him on, even to the practice squad in that manner. So let's kind of talk about what Mike Vrabel said, and we'll first start with a predecessing quote from Ethan Hurwitz of Patriots SI. He said, "Now the only quarterbacks remaining on the roster ahead of the league's cutdown day are Drake Maye and Josh Dobbs." Head coach Mike Vrabel made reference to the team potentially bringing in a third quarterback for the regular season, but who that might be remains a mystery, end quote. Now we'll go straight to the Mike Vrabel quote before we tell you about a couple different options. Here is what Vrabel said, saying, quote, "Other than just saying that now we have two, I'm not sure how much other assessment we're there at two, and we'll decide about who is, or if we plan on carrying a third quarterback on the 53 or on the practice squad. So the only thing I can tell you is, as of now, we have two," end quote. Most NFL teams carry at least 33 quarterbacks, even if that third guy is on the practice squad, specifically to have an emergency quarterback option, because God forbid Drake Maye gets injured and then you go to Joshua Dobbs and he falls down. I mean, there's not going to be a guy behind them. So in a lot of facets, the league is really telling you to go out there and get a third quarterback. With that being said, who are the options? What exactly can the Patriots do? Well, this is where we go into today's video and kind of talking about a couple of different guys. Now, we did get this report a couple of days ago, and it is the first guy we're going to talk about, and that is Tommy DeVito. You see, when the Patriots released Ben Wooldridge, they were obviously on the market for a QB3, and immediately Mike Reese came out and said one name to watch was Tommy DeVito. Obviously had a very good game against the New England Patriots. If you look at what he did, it was a fantastic one. And here is here's the stat line. The wrong picture there. Ethan Hurwitz of Patriots SI once again saying, quote, "The third-year quarterback registered 198 yards and 3 touchdowns in the 42-10 victory, but might not be able to crack the Giants' 53-man roster. Ahead of DeVito are veterans Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, as well as first-round pick Jackson Dart." End quote. Now, while there is positions where teams have kept more than 3 quarterbacks, assuming all the way to 4, it is very unlikely and something that is not normal for a lot of teams to do, especially when they spent money to get Russell Wilson and assets to get Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, along with Jackson Dart being a first-round pick. It's just the nature of the game. They're not going to keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster and then still have a guy on the practice squad is the mindset behind all of that. Obviously, DeVito had a fantastic game against us in the final preseason game. That could be said for most of the Giants. They were 3-0 in the preseason and looked fantastic against us in that final game. Obviously, we were playing literally nobodies, to be quite honest with you. But 17 completions on 20 attempts. That's an 85% completion percentage. Really, really good. 198 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a QB rating above 145. Very, very good showing from Tommy DeVito. And he honestly fits well with what the Patriots would be looking for. Obviously, it's something that, you want to have on your roster, and a guy who has played winning football. I mean, you remember he got on and played some key impact games for the New York Giants over the past couple years. Obviously, the signature Italian and a lot of stuff that he has done is well, let's say made him a character in a lot of facets, but he's played good football. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's just a character. He's a good football player, and I think it would be a perfect fit to have him on the practice squad. He also mentioned in a recent post-game press conference after the Patriots game saying, I'm focused on myself. I want to be on a roster, whether it's here or one of the other 31 teams. So I do believe that he understands in the position that he's in, he's most likely not going to remain with the New York Giants, which I, as a Patriots fan, obviously, it was kind of funny watching the New York Giants have an Italian quarterback, and he fit really well with them, but I think it also fit decently well with the New England Patriots. So that is option number one. Option number two actually came today. You see, the Lions, they released Hendon Hooker. Now, Hooker is an interesting person for a couple of different reasons. If you don't know, Hooker was a really, really good quarterback at Tennessee. And we go back to his college stats. It was a very fantastic career. 5 years, 3 of those at Virginia Tech, 2 at Tennessee, one of them being a Heisman candidate in that final season in 2022 before getting injured. And the injury really kind of set him back for a multitude of different reasons, but got him to be drafted, I believe, in like the 4th or 5th round for the Lions back in a couple years of the Kansas City draft, so 2-3 years ago. He had a lot of prowess as an athlete in general, but I believe it was a torn ACL or Achilles, some big ligament tear, so it really kind of hurt his athleticism. And funny enough, they released him today, but it was a very presumptuous thing to say by Dan Campbell, who kind of suggested that he's good. He just needed somewhere else to do it. Here's what Lions head coach Dan Campbell said about the matter, saying, quote, "How much development do you believe there is?" We're talking about Hooker right now. How much development do you still believe is there? Sometimes, does the player need a change of scenery? First of all, that's a crazy thing for a coach to say in general. Now, Dan Campbell is one of one, especially in the NFL. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Mike Vrabel as our head coach, but Dan Campbell is a fantastic head coach and obviously has done a great job with the Lions in Detroit. But the fact that he is saying that about Hendon Hooker is kind of wild to me. Now, you do have to understand his stats in Detroit are pretty miserable. He's played in 3 games. He's only thrown 9 times, in which he's completed 6 of those. He had 62 yards, hasn't thrown a touchdown, hasn't thrown an interception. He's really just been limited, and that's kind of the reason why he was released. There was no reason for them to even try to do that, so it wasn't an option worth it given they have a very secure quarterback room. But the Patriots, on the other hand, well. Ethan Hurwitz of Patriots SI says, quote, "Enter New England. With Maye and Dobbs taking up the top 2 spots for the Patriots, the team can get a little out of the box should they choose to acquire an outside third quarterback," end quote. And that's exactly why I present to you both these options in Hendon Hooker and Tommy DeVito, because Tommy DeVito has a good story and has proven NFL success, at least in a small capacity. Hendon Hooker is a guy who was injured. You can kind of take a risk on. Maybe the athleticism is still there, and really just a risky play. But I trust in Drake Maye, and this might be a bad way to think, but if Drake Maye gets injured, our season is kind of in the dumps anyway, so I kind of just want to have some fun. I think Hendon Hooker or Tommy DeVito fits that option. It's like a Jameis Winston. If my starting quarterback is injured and I don't really trust in anybody else, I want to at least have fun watching the games. I think watching Hendon Hooker or watching Tommy DeVito would be a little fun. I'm going to be quite frank with you. But at the same time, we still don't know what's going to happen. Tomorrow is a very huge day. 53-man roster cutdowns for the entire league, which means there are going to be a heck of a lot of moves. So we're going to have videos popping out to you here on Patriots Digest, having a lot of shorts tomorrow. A lot of shorts kind of discussing moves, cuts, all the things that is happening with the New England Patriots. So for that reason, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check us out on our shorts page and all that stuff, because there's going to be a lot happening, and we want you to stay informed on all the Patriots roster moves. We appreciate you tuning in here on Patriots Digest, and we're going to see you next time. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Peace out.